Setting up the webinar. It's happening live on Facebook. Can't tell if we're live. Redirecting me to the Facebook Live page. I think this is the part where I'm live. There's always about 3 seconds where this happens. So now I want to go here and just to make sure. Force everyone to watch me do tech support. Don't give a damn. This is my prerogative. You guys get to watch me do this. Okay, I can see it. It's there. I want to click this button so I can see all of the comments. Okay, awesome. Well, good morning, everyone. It's Friday, September 27th. That's all I have to say about the date. I guess I could say it's 2019. Let's get to the part everyone's here for. Most people I notice these days tune in for this and this alone. We usually spike at about 20, 25 viewers as I pour this tea. I'm doing it off camera, but here, let's get it on camera because there you go. See, it's actually happening. And that is tea. It's not pee or anything like that. Some people have said like, hey, how do I know you're actually drinking tea, Adam, instead of warm urine or something like that, which valid question. You know, that's something I think all of us wonder often when you see people drinking a liquid on TV or something like that. But the way you can tell is watch this face. That's not my drinking urine, my warm urine face. So that's a bit of a dead giveaway. Anyhow, we've got an Ibu with us today. Very wise mug. It's also a smaller mug, so I can't get as much tea into me before I fill it up. So I'm hoping this reduces the tremendous impact on my bladder that this show has. So this week I've been in the throes of a cold. Last weekend I was away. We didn't have a show. I went away with some of my oldest and bestest friends to one of the Gulf Islands here on the west coast of Canada. We do this every year. It's kind of like an annual tradition. And one of the things that's been super cool for me is, you know, the longer I've known my friend, like the longer I've been in relationship with friend, that means I created friendship with them. Well, obviously further back in my past, which means that there was a greater amount of time to get set in certain patterns before I started to really get supported with a coach and start to take on a bunch of work and start to like be more intimate and learn how to open my heart, all of the cool stuff that I get to do as part of my work as coach. And so I'd been noticing over the years that the friends I'd made later on in life, especially like after I'd started to really come into this career and take this work on and really make it my life's purpose, those newer friendships actually tended to have more intimacy in them. And the reason was because that's just where I was at. I'd sort of learned how to be more intimate as a man and to share more of myself. And so that's the place from which I was entering into that relationship. Whereas these awesome friends of mine, we all became friends in our sort of early 20s. That's when our friendship really kind of coalesced. And I will tell you that in my early 20s, I was not interested in intimacy. I was not interested in being, in letting go of being right or seeing beyond what I was right about or any of that stuff. I was really interested in being right, you being wrong, me having life figured out, being witty, being ironically detached, all these things that are kind of fun and then also lose their luster as time goes on. And so I'd noticed this in that group of friends, like, oh, wow, it's interesting that I've known these guys the longest, but there's also often like, it feels like there's the most barrier between us and the intimacy that I'm really craving. Morning, Leanne. Morning, Karen. And so one of the things that's been really cool is over the last year, especially, I've noticed like the intimacy between us has really started to grow, probably for a number of reasons. But this trip was a really neat experience I had where we went away, and normally in the past, this trip would be, it started to morph as time's gone on, but normally it would be we get together, we get drunk, we get stoned, we get fucked up. We play a lot of board games. We say a lot of sarcastic stuff. Hey, what are you doing with my light, son? Stop that. Play board games, party, get messed up, watch bad movies, joke around, the end, which is fun. And, you know, obviously I enjoy that. Otherwise I wouldn't keep doing it. But this trip was a little different because we spent a lot more time just sitting, just watching the ocean in front of us and letting conversation come or letting it not come and just being with each other. We spent more time just hanging out in the kitchen while we were making dinner, cleaning up together. One of the things that really was a stand for was not being on our devices, not being on our phones, which is tough, and I could feel my friend's presence would get drawn into their phones. We'd be watching a movie and one of my friends was just on his phone, reading about the movie, flicking through. And I was like, oh man, I miss my friend in this moment. I want more of him. And part of what I can see allowed me to contribute to more intimacy was a willingness not to make him wrong for that, but just to share like, oh, I'm missing your presence in this moment. And then allowing that to be all that there is. And, at least he got that piece of feedback and at least it was given from love. So morning, Chrissy. So super cool weekend, really neat to like sort of get to be present to some of that group of friends' evolution. The other thing I'll share that's really cool to me is none of them are coaches. I'm the only wackadoodle doing that. But as time's gone on, many of them have started to take on work with like a counselor or a therapist or psychologist or, whatever support happens to be there for them to take on. And man, does that make the conversation richer. And I'm sort of realizing these days, there's a streak I have of like righteousness, especially around coaches. I'm like, man, I really think coaches should work with coaches. I think that's important. But below that, I'm starting to get present to this thing. Like, I just want more of people. I want to get to be with more of who someone is and relish in their being. And it's fine if that's not something they're interested in or just not where they're at or whatever it is. But what I notice is when people take on being supported by someone they're in a committed, often paid relationship with, which kind of draws out our commitment, when people take that on, something really remarkable happens and becomes available. And so I'm really loving that. It's really special to me that I get to have that experience with my friends. And in part, it's a credit to the work they're doing. So guys, thank you for that. So that's the thank you. The fuck you. He giveth and he taketh away. The fuck you is fuck you for giving me this terrible cold. I've been sick all week. And what that's been like is it's interesting. Bay's away in Florida at Disney World, praying at church, if you like. That's really what Disney is for Bay. And I've been here by myself with a cold, and it's not been the worst cold. It's, you'll hear me hack up some vital body part at some point today. It's more just, I feel at 65%, and I've noticed a lot of my structures fallen off. I've kind of decided I'm not going to go to the gym in the morning. I'm not going to get up and write in the morning. I'm not going to I'm going to give my body as much rest as it wants in the morning. So I've been getting up at 8 as opposed to 5:30. And I notice my addictions, that part of me that's like, sorry, Leanne, them's the breaks. Hello, Leanne's son, though. Liked that photo of you in that tie, looking very sharp. So all of, maybe you wouldn't necessarily call them addictions, but like the part of me that is like, numb yourself out, dude. Like, you don't have to be bored. Rather than be in the boredom, just stimulate yourself. That part, which I would call my addict, has been up. So I've been watching TV, I've been playing video games and noticing how friggin' boring doing those things are. Like, I can do this and it stops me from feeling bored and it's really not that interesting. And so that's been the week that has been in front of me. I'll show you, this is something that's kind of cool. I wooded my keyboard. Look at that. Damn, look how woody that is. Super cool. It's all, hey, get out of here, son. That's decals that I've put on my keyboard because it looks way nicer than just regular crappy wood. So this is a very wood themed office. We've got this cool wood phone, cool wood keyboard. It's like I have a keyboard with wood on it, I guess, which is 100% accurate. You couldn't even argue with me on that. Okay. Well, I think I've blathered for long enough. Let's get our special celebrity guest on here first. Before you come on, Tim, I'm just going to take one more sip of tea. Actually, you know what, Tim? Let's get you on here. and then we're going to sip tea together. And if not, I didn't ask you to bring tea, but we're going to see if you have a hot beverage. So we'll wait for Tim. I really want to sip this tea though, now that I'm holding, I'll put it down. All right. Hey, Tim.
Hi, guys.
Hello. Do you have a hot beverage of any sort?
Not a hot one, but I have a camping can full of water.
Okay, great. It's not tepid urine by any chance? Let's find out. Let's have a drink. You guys be the judge. Okay. Yep. Nope. That checks out. Definitely not urine. It's a fun game to play. Not really. It's a weird game to play. So, well, hello, Tim. Share something about you. Where are you? Where are you coming into this call from? What time is it where you are?
Right. I'm in France. I'm in my office. Just right in my bag, there is just the latest brainstorm I have about the company I'm building. It's 7 p.m. In Nantes. So it's like 4 hours driving west from Paris. For people who knows Paris. And that's it. Yeah.
Excellent. Cool. Well, man, thanks for I'm stoked that we get to have this conversation today, and super cool that we're international now. We're now outside of the boundaries of Canada. Up to this point, this show has been purely talking to people that are Canadian. So I really feel like we're bridging a divide. All right, cool. So if memory serves correct, you stayed up all night, super stressed about this conversation, right?
Kind of.
Okay, excellent. Cool. It's going to be awesome. So, well, where should we start? What do you want to look at? What do you want to talk about?
I have two main topics, and they may be linked. The first one is I'm working my commitments on my different big project the company I'm building, and the fact that I just moved to Nantes, so I had to build a new network, find some friends, things like that.
Yeah.
And the other topic is that I really struggle to keep focus on what I'm committed to. So I want to build many other things. I'm already thinking about moving somewhere else. I can't stop thinking about doing new thing and creating new things. Not always compliant with what I'm currently building.
Right, unless what you're building is more new things, I guess. Yeah. Somehow. Okay, cool. So on one hand, we've got, you mentioned I heard you say the word commitment multiple times there. So you said one, your commitment. Well, can you say more about this part? Because I heard the word commitment move on, but I wasn't sure actually be for us to look at down the first path. So can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Can you just rephrase it? Because I lost you a little bit on the sound wasn't clear.
Yep. Yeah. So let's go from the last one to the first. So the first one, or the second thing I heard you say was you're struggling a little bit. You just notice a tendency, or at least right now, struggling to stay focused on the stuff you've committed to. It's kind of like you're like, oh, but there's new opportunities. There's new things I want to do. I'm already thinking about moving somewhere new. So that was the second part, right? The second thing you mentioned?
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on the first thing that you mentioned?
Okay. The first one is, I think it's very linked. When I commit to something, there's two things showing up, like the excitement of creating something new, what I'm committed and what I'm very feel a part of, and constructing the project. Creating the vision and the way to go there. And when you, it's like when you draw the house and you make the plans and you make it 3D on your computer, and then you have to build the walls. And when I come to build the walls, I get bored because it's repetitive tasks, and I can already know everything that I need to do, and I just get bored. So I feel that it's like I betray the commitments I had with the person I'm building the project.
Got it. Okay, so they're kind of like the same. It sounds a little bit like they're the same thing. Like there's that part when it's new and sexy and there's like something to figure out. And then once you get to the part where it's like, well, we got to put stakes in the ground and like start building, it's like, well, what's sexy about that? I've already done that part. Let's move on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it. So what would be like, how would you, I mean, the simplest way I can ask this question is, what do you want to leave here with? Like, what's the result that you'd like from us looking at this particular thing you've brought?
Mm. The first thing that came in mind is I want to know why, but I know
right.
that you won't.
If only I knew
you won't
why.
content with that kind of answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to identify at least one or two leverage tool or a way to see myself coming into the pattern of boredom, and then to prevent myself to escape from my actual project with just new ideas, which appeals more exciting, but which I can't just take right now. So to stay focused, even when I feel the pattern, identify the pattern and stay focused anyway.
I'm taking notes, by the way. I'm not bored just waiting for you to stop. Okay, great. Yet. Okay, so first of all, I just want to say, totally relate to wanting to know why. Super familiar for me, like, but it's interesting too, right? And it's kind of neat because figuring out why is a little bit like that part where you're drawing out the blueprints of the house. Like there's sort of a figuring out to it. There's a mystery to be solved, so to speak. So totally get that. And then I heard you say, like, I want to figure out a way to prevent myself from kind of doing that thing you do where you're like, I'm bored, so long. Is that right? Okay, great. I'm going to talk to these other people for just a sec. Well, I'll say it to you. That seems to work better. So like what we've got so far is what you kind of like, I'm doing this thing and I want to not do this thing, right? Like I want to remove this thing that I do from my space entirely. Fair?
Yeah.
So this is like how most of us approach stuff. Where like you could look at everyone's got some flavor of this. Oh, I'm drinking too much, so my New Year's resolution is I want to stop drinking so much. Oh, I'm booking all this time, so I want to create ironclad walls so I can stop booking all this time, which is really like a subtractive process. You know, it's kind of like I need to fix this broken part of myself because then everything would happen. So nothing wrong with that. And in fact, it's a great starting point for us. We just don't want to end there, because what that's going to do is you're going to remove it, but then we don't really have a reason. We don't have anything that you're going towards, right? So you'll remove it and then be like, okay, I've created boredom. It's not seeming to give me what I want. So I'm going to go back to that pattern. Make sense?
Yeah, totally.
So let's say that you could remove this. Like, let's say we eradicate this, it's gone forever. What does that now allow you to have an experience of or to create in your life that's not currently possible?
Yeah, it could be amazing, but I think that if I spare me all the time when my spirit is going away from what I need to do, would be more efficient. So I could accelerate the growth of my company and finding partners and finding new clients. And also, I could have more time for myself, I guess, even if I want to build more projects. So I could free some time. No, okay, it's a stupid answer, but yeah, more time for myself, maybe, and more time to grow my company.
It felt like there was some emotion that showed up for you there as you were speaking. Am I making that up, or was that there for you?
No, I just felt stupid, like answering if I don't make new project, so I'm gaining time to make new project. This was, yeah.
Right. Well, you are stupid, but so am I. So we can be stupid together. That's cool. Nothing wrong with that. So, okay. So like more time for yourself, more time for other people. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, I was thinking, saying myself, like it's not the things that I need is not only me, but saying myself, it's myself and my partner
Mm.
and my friends and the things that I need in life. So family included.
Got it. Okay, great. So for everyone watching, what we're doing is we started with like, here's how things go. If only I could stop this. And now what we're starting to do is expand into like, yeah, but what would be, we're getting Tim thinking about what would be possible outside of that. What possibility, what getting present to possibility does is it gives us a reason to start doing the ugly, uncomfortable, crappy work of letting go of our patterns. It's what I'm really saying is it's challenging to stop doing what we know to do. There's a reason you're doing this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So let's make this a little more specific. Like, is there a particular place where you notice this pattern showing up and you're like, man, I wish it's not serving me there. There's something I want where this desire, this tendency to go after the next thing, the new thing, the whatever is getting in your way.
Mm. I'm not sure to exactly understand the question.
Mm-hmm. Want me to say it differently?
Clarify. Yeah, please.
Yeah. So I'm clear there's like this way of being, we could call it, that you have that you're like, this isn't serving me, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's a place in your life where you'd like to address this? Is there a project you're working on, like West out West, or like your partnership, or living in Nantes? Like, where is a specific area in your life where you're like, man, I'd like to address this there?
Oh, it's. I think it's very. I said. I was ready to say it very clear that it's West to West, and saying that, I felt myself like, yeah, I'm not that sure of it, but I think where I struggle the most is on the West to West project, but where is the most important could be in my relationship with my partner.
Got it. So which of those would you like to look at? Both of them are fine. The good news is either way, wherever we choose, we're going to get to see how this way of being shows up. So it's just like, what's the concrete place where you want to play today?
Mm-hmm. Let me think about a minute.
Yeah.
They are both linked because I'm building my company with my partner, with a relationship with.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same and not the same at all because it's getting way more private on one of the two topics. But anyway, I said it was the most important, the most impactful right now. So I think it's kind of going to work on the relationship.
Cool. Thanks, man. Honor your courage, Tim. It's one of the things I love about Tim is just how courageous you are and how willing you are. Like, all right, I don't want to have this conversation at all. Let's have this stupid, crappy conversation. And like, that's just, it's hilarious. And also like a mark of who you are, just willing to show up even in the face of everything in you that's like, but don't go there. So thanks, man. That's courage to me. Okay. So, if you're willing, and if at any point you're like, it's too much, just let me know. We can pull back from this and look in the other direction. Okay, fair?
Yeah, good.
Cool. So, how is this showing up there in your relationship with your partner?
In many ways, I just like I don't give a lot of information on what I'm working on. Like I used to work a lot alone, so it's kind of edgy for me to just to do some unnecessary work. In my eyes, it's unnecessary work, but in order to have a healthy way to work together, there's something that shall be done. and I don't really deal with them, or I just delay them, or I just just pretend to take care of them, and I don't really, because I think it's boring, not useful, not helping the company to move forward. Yeah, and sometimes I even disengage on a small project that I don't believe on, or I think it's yeah, or I think I have no fun in it, or because I don't really know how to do it. Both are true. There's no fun or scary because I don't know how to do it, and I don't want to admit it.
Okay, so let me see if I've got this. It's it's kind of like you make a commitment. I have that part right?
Mm-hmm.
And then at first things are new and exciting and novel, and you're going along, and then there hits some point where that's not the experience you're having anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it. And then so and then I kind of got a little bit lost there. So like what happens? Like you hit this point where it's like, oh, things are different all of a sudden. Like what is the experience? What is it that shows up that then like, ooh, I want to go looking for new and more exciting things?
Yeah, I think on this particularly project.
Project being West to West?
Yeah.
West to West,
that we are building together, West to West. Both are pronounced in the English way, even if it's written in French. I have a lot of time to work on that because currently I do have some jobs, but from consulting and trying to develop coaching as well. But I don't have that many, so I have a lot of time to work on West to West, and she does not. Because she has a lot of activity on her side, on coaching and on learning workshops for schools and companies, and that's very good. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but so it's unbalanced on the time we can engage on this company. And I think I started to get a bit less into the project and less into the relationship between the two of us inside this project.
And
because it wasn't going as fast as
Please continue, Tim.
Yeah.
Got it. So things start to slow down.
Yeah.
Okay. What else? Like, so here's the good news. We're kind of looking at like why right now. So like what else contributes to this like experience where you're like gung-ho, you're excited about it, and then you're like, this is no longer fun. And then that's the point where you start to go looking for something else. Right. So what else happens that sort of like slows you down in terms of your excitement and brings you down to this place where you're like, this isn't that much fun. Maybe you're feeling a little resentful, or, whatever is true for you.
Yeah, it was part of frustrating sensation that one of the strengths of this company is we have two very complementary background. But when I have to work on some topics and I don't have knowledge on it because she has it, I'm stuck. Like I can't. If she doesn't have time, I just have to wait, and it's very frustrating because I don't have this kind of knowledge and I can't just invent it. It makes me feel a bit stuck on. Like I can't work on anything else because I can't engage my energy on something else.
Got it.
Yeah, because after that, if she has times and I does not, and I do not have, I don't know. I feel that I have to adapt to her and not reversely.
Right. So it sounds. Check my feet on this one, because these are going to be some of my words, and I want to make sure they're accurate to what you're experiencing. But it sounds kind of like you're like, I'm doing it, it's happening, And then you kind of get this experience where like, whether it's from your partner, or I imagine sometimes it's just from like the world around you or whatever it is, but like, let me just draw. You kind of, you experience this moment like early on, you're on this part of the curve where you're like, this is amazing. And then you hit things start to like slow down and level off. Where you're like, I can't seem to make them go faster. I feel a little bit stuck. I feel stymied, slowed down by someone outside of me. And that's the point where you're like, I'm bored. I'm going to move on. Is that about right?
Yeah. Yes, I think it's true. I think it definitely missed a part here of Adam didn't talk about it, but I think the kind of obvious when you build a company that there is a fear and of not doing something that will really work. Like the company could be a really huge mistake that no one will buy it, and these two getting the impression that everything is getting slower and slower and harder to produce, and yeah, and when one of us is adopting a lot of this project, and it's getting some, it's difficult to maintain the vision and the speed of it. Because it impacts as well the relationship and the company at the same time.
Right. Okay, got it. So there's like, I'm hearing sort of this. First of all, we know growth and progress happens in these sort of like, we climb up and then there's plateaus, and then we like climb up and then there's plateaus. Like we know that's part of the way that growth tends to happen, right? Would that be fair?
Yeah, and even would be not even climb up and then stabilized, but sometimes you really have the feel that you drop like from an airplane, like you're in free drop, and come on, it can't be possible. We have built so much, we can't be just getting down right now.
Right. Yeah. Like, did you ever play sports?
Yep.
What sport did you play? Name one.
Okay, the last one I engaged on, it was rugby.
Rugby. Okay, great. And so knowing you're a guy that likes to be good at stuff, right? So when you were learning rugby, did you find like your growth was just like, or was it sort of like, at least for me, it would be often like a lot of training, and then I kind of break through and be like, oh my God, it's all integrated. Suddenly I can use those techniques I've been training, and then like training, break through. Is that how you experienced it, or do you experience it differently?
It's more like a roller coaster, that very high, very low, very high, very low, and a bit higher.
Yes, each time.
With practice, but a bit lower sometimes also.
Right. Okay, great. So, okay. So clear what sort of happens, which is you begin something, you're excited, you're engaged, you're turned on, you're playing full out. It's awesome. Then things start to slow down. You feel your progress stuck in some kind of way because of something outside of yourself. It generally sounds like, whether it's Emmy, your partner, whether it's the world around you, whether it's maybe your boss, maybe your friends aren't showing up the way you want, whatever it is, there's something out there that has you feel a little bit stuck. Yeah.
Yeah. But the way you say it, it's definitely, I feel that there is something inside me, that it's not only the world around me. It's not from outside. There is something inside that disengage. Maybe sometimes it's for no reason.
Yes. So we're going to look at that next. I'm just trying to so the way this stuff often occurs, and this is for everyone, we experience our lives a lot like an old timey movie reel. You remember movie reels, Tim? They'd like spin, and it's a series of still pictures, but if you move them fast enough, it looks like animated.
Yeah.
So that's the way we experience our lives, is this, we see it as the movie running through, and it just looks like, oh, this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens. And so what we're trying to do is really slow it down so we can look at each individual frame, so we can start to see how this pattern works for you. So what I'm hearing, Tim, is like early on, excited, then something shows up, something out there or some experience where you're like, oh, I'm stuck, the growth tends to like level off, at least for a period of time. And then that creates some experience internally. So there's like stuff shows up this way, it slows down for a bit, and then you have some sort of meaning, you make that mean something. It's not just like, oh, this is that part where things slow down a bit before they speed up again. It sounds like for you, it's like, no, this really means something. There's like some significance to this. Would that be fair?
Yeah.
What's that significance? Tell me about that.
Well, when I feel that I don't want to the slope to stay level up, you mean?
Yeah, but let me just make sure I'm asking the right question. I'm saying that for you, it sounds like it's not just like, oh, the slope's leveling out, no big deal. That's just part of what happened. Like, oh, it's raining today, no big deal. For you, it's like, oh my God, the slope's leveling out, and that means, and then fill in the blanks for us.
Okay. That means we won't make it. Like if it's a level of, we won't make it. We need to grow fast. We need to go, to produce a lot of works on communication, on client gathering, on commercial development, and partners finding, and all the things like that. Yeah, it needs to get quick. Because
if it doesn't get quick, then
we won't make it. There is no point of doing it. We won't succeed. We don't do it half time. It has to be
right. So it's like for you, the correct like graph looks like this. This is, yes, we're doing it. We're succeeding. But like
an exponential way, like
right. Because if you just keep going like this, you're not growing. You've leveled off. It's the same level. So for you, it's like this would probably be here. Let me draw another graph here. This would be the ideal graph.
Okay.
Okay, Adam, stop it. Stop having fun over there. Okay, got it. So first of all, man, this is making sense. Like it's not just that, oh, we're at that part in commitment where it's a little bit boring. It sounds like, oh my God, we're going to fail. Like that's what the feedback you're getting from the world, it's getting something's happening out there. It's coming in, and then inside of whatever like sort of beliefs, structures, whatever you have internally, that is received and then translated into you're failing and you're going to fail.
Yeah, that's true.
Got it. Okay. So what have you learned to do to deal with this? Like, let's take that interpretation and shut your brain off about it. So what people want to do is they're like, oh, I that's silly. I know I'm not going to fail. Don't do that. That's bullshit. The belief is you're going to fail. So we want to fully empower that belief right now so we can follow it through, so we can really learn about it. And we can only do that if we're willing to empower it. You game for that?
Okay.
Okay, great. So if you're going to fail at this, then what have you learned to do to deal with that problem?
I'm pretty sure that one of the things would be make it look like it wasn't my fault.
That's interesting. Tell me more about that.
Now, I was trying to find a link between boredom and fear of failure. And if I say, yeah, I didn't make it, but I was bored, you just have to build the house, and I just do all the conception. That was the intellectual part. So I was just bored. It's not my fault. It's boring work. I could have, but I don't want to do that because it's too boring. So it doesn't look like it's really because I tried, but only because I disengaged myself. I'm not willing to go further.
Oh God, I didn't fail. I just got bored.
Yeah.
Great.
I think
that's a great one.
Yes.
No. It's not like I tried, took the shot and missed it. I just got bored of it and I turned away and found something else. Okay, great. What else? I'm going to assert you have a bunch of strategies around this, ways to deal with this, ways to solve this, et cetera, et cetera. So tell me some more.
You said a way to solve it. I thought it was like we were looking for what could happen if I fail, like for real.
No, so you have, so like let's just lay the planks again, okay? So what happens is you're doing something that clearly matters to you, right? You've committed to it. Obviously, this matters. So you're doing the thing that matters. Then, while initially there's that early part of the learning curve, you're like, yeah, things are happening. I feel good. I'm excited. I'm motivated. Then it starts to level off, which in your world means, uh-oh, we're failing.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm going to assert you have a bunch of strategies that you then start like failing is scary to you, it sounds like. And so you have a bunch of strategies you've learned to do once you hit here where you're like, oh crap, start doing. And like, so one of them would be like, kind of, I'm bored. I'm going to go, like, it sounds like going and finding something else to do is one of the strategies. Well, I'm going to fail at this. I'm going to get bored of it. And I'm going to go find another thing to do. And then I didn't fail over here. Would that be fair?
Yeah. So one other thing I would do is just get a lot of intention and power on retrieving why we are building it. Like, getting back to the why we do it, why this project is important, and just yell it. Like it's not very co-construction. I don't know. It's not really a friendly approach. It's more that and shake the earth thing. That come on, it has a lot of meanings, and I'm trying to convince myself and my partner on this that. We do that for a reason because we believe on something that it's more important than us. Maybe something like that.
So would you say that, like what I heard is it's almost like you try to make it more significant. Like, oh my God, I'm pulling away from this. I need to like get like even more like, this matters. Would that be fair?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Like I'm pulling away. I better make it even more significant. Let's really make this a big deal.
Absolutely.
Okay,
yeah.
Great.
Yeah. And when you say that, it triggers something like even for our relationship, if we fail that, I fear for the entire relationship. Like it's not only the company that will fail, it's the house and the relationship and the sky and everything.
Right. Okay, great. Excellent. Which I imagine makes you much more easy. It must be much more easy to just be like, okay, right here, like, oh, no problem. I'm okay with this slowing down now that I've made this incredibly significant. I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, let's get a few more things you've learned to do. Like when you fall in that place where you're like, oh, fuck, we're starting to fail. What are some other strategies, things you've learned to do? Calling it's the sky and everything, by the way.
I think there's something, I don't really know exactly where it comes from, but I see myself do that sometimes. I just can't work anymore. Like I stop working. I think it's not getting to the right direction. So my body just kind of shut down. My brain stopped functioning and I'm just like freeze. I can't even read my to-do list or open my computer to work on something. Just nothing works.
Fuck it. Fuck this.
Yeah.
Got it. Is there a fuck me in there too?
Like myself or you?
Not me. No, I'm flawless in this conversation. You.
Yeah, sure.
Great. Fuck it. Fuck this. Fuck me. Okay. Get that one. Do you ever like when this initially starts to go this way, do you like double down? Do you try to like work even harder? Like I've heard you try to raise the significance on yourself, but is there another part where when it starts to level off, you're like, I'm going to put twice as much work into this?
Yeah. A lot of the time I just begin the week like a huge Monday, even bigger Tuesday, and after that I just completely full.
Right.
When I'm stressed out because it's not getting fast enough, that's the kind of thing I can do.
Right. Great. So what is the impact of these strategies? Because I want to be clear, they make a lot of sense from like, if you just look at what we're doing is looking at the whole pattern right now. But if you look at them individually, step to step, these make a lot of sense, right? It's like, oh my God, things are slowing down. Oh my God, that means that we're failing. Oh my God, what do I need to do? I need to get bored and walk away from it. I need to find new things to do, sort of hedge your bet. I need to make it more significant, like really make this a big deal to try to get myself more engaged. Fuck it, fuck this, fuck me, just walk away from it, or put twice as much work and then even 4 times as much work. So how does this all tend to leave you feeling?
Oh, I just now I just feel angry about myself.
Right? That's the fuck me part, right? Fuck me, I can't do it. And
it's kind of, I know I can, why can't I?
And when you say can, what is the can? Like I should just be able to.
There's a should, definitely. I should be able to. I know I have it inside. I always have wanted to build this kind of adventure, and I know I have the abilities to do that, like the competencies and the knowledge and the intellectual. I don't know what you'd say that, but yeah.
So what should you be able to do, Tim?
To build correctly and succeed in building this company, without losing my relationship and my sanity of mind.
Right. It's very like big picture, but in this moment, what is it you should be able to do? Like the moment where you're like, level off, all these things happen, then fuck me, I should be able to, in this moment, I should be able to what?
To deal with the situation with calm, pragmatism, and intellectual response, and I shut off the emotions. I think I should be able to remove the emotions from the picture and just be pragmatic and continue to build it.
So it's like, if more. I could do all those things, then I could continue to build this.
Yeah.
Got it. So it's like, I shouldn't be turning this off, and yet I am.
Yeah.
Great. Would you say that so like, here's what I notice is that all of these, if what this is about is being afraid that you're going to fail, and then all these strategies are like, get even more like, start getting more involved, make this more significance. To me, it seems like that makes it even more scary, the thought of failing. Like it, rather than sort of reducing, it's okay how it goes, it feels over here like, wow, I could imagine the cost, the stakes of failing risen even higher.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, that's what I'm imagining might happen. Is that actually how it occurs for you, or am I just making that up?
The more I put energy on this project, the more I fear that if I fail, it will hurt.
Yeah. What are you seeing? Like, as we look at this, what are you noticing? What are you present to?
I noted that, yeah, I just get it out of my mind, but while I'm talking to addressing this problem, I'm really a lot talking about me. And I said that I wanted to work on the relationship with my partner. And I'm working on the project right now. And I feel a bit bad about it. I don't know the right word to say it, but it's kind of, yeah, I feel like I'm talking about it like if I was working alone on this project. Like I feel alone on that, and I shouldn't be because we are two on this project, and not just two random people. We are two people in the relationship, and I feel bad about it. Really, it feels like everything that we have said is true, and everything that is coming from fear to fail, and fear to fail for the project and for the relationships too. I think it's yeah, I may feel that I have to manage the project all by myself. Like if and that's not true. I don't know how to say that. That to carry all the weight, like something like that. Too many things in my mind right now. I'm pretty sure it's not clear, and I don't know if you get something from it.
Well, I've got a question for you.
Okay.
So how does everything you just shared relate to what we've been looking at?
I think two fears that are linked to our relationships is people seeing from the outside that you've succeeded because of her and not because of me. The others is that I'm really scared to admit that sometimes I don't know how to do the next steps. Admit to her, I mean. So there are kind of I may have built something just to hide it, like hide the fact that I'm afraid of saying I don't know, afraid of the way people will look at me, because it's the project is all about mostly about personal development. It's not my area, my field at first, but even if I'm working on it, and I'm so that people will see it like, yeah, you've been working for her and not with her, because it's her field and you're helping her building a company, like something like that. And I feel a bit ashamed to feel that and to think that, and that's not good. So that's kind of the things that gets on the way when things are not getting as they should be. That's part of the thing that I'm saying to myself.
Okay, I think, well, so I noticed I got a little lost there. That might just be my stuff. So let me see if I can, like, my hunch, what that felt like was a little bit like your big giant brain was like, okay, great, let's like jump all the way here and then like do a bunch of math. And like I felt your heart in that too, but it felt very heady what you were describing, like, oh, I think this, therefore that, therefore that. So my intention is not to be right about that, but I just want to make sure we're walking along the sort of connecting the dots as we're putting them out, so that,
yeah, I see.
Fair enough. So what I heard, let me share how it looks over here, and then I'm going to check back in with you. Is that all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So first I heard, like, generally speaking, the way your commitment goes Like that's what we're talking about, right? Is your commitment to your relationship, to a project, to living somewhere new, anything that you choose to take on, there's a way it tends to go. Do I have that part right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Second, the way it tends to go is like at first it's really great and you put a lot of yourself into it and things are moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then they start to level off. Just like naturally happens. We could look around the world and everyone has this experience. We call it in English, we call it the plateau, where it's like, oh, I'm learning new techniques, but I'm not yet really able to put them into place. Things aren't moving, they're a little slower, etc.
Mm-hmm.
For some people, that's just like, oh, this is just part of growth. But for Tim, what you've shared is like, oh, it's not just part of growth. It doesn't just mean, oh, I'm at that part of growing, just like rain, like, oh, I'm at that part of the season when it rains. For you, it means failure. Failure is imminent. Do I have that part right?
I think yes.
Okay, great. So it's a little bit like, imagine if every time I walked outside and it was raining, I was like, fuck, I'm going to fail. That would be problematic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little bit what I'm hearing. Now, what we're next looking at is, okay, from that fear that failure is imminent, there's a bunch of stuff you do to try to solve that problem. Right? So like some of the things you do is you like get bored of the project and go seeking something else, which would be a brilliant strategy to not have to be with failures. Like, are you familiar with the concept of hedging bets?
Nope.
So a hedged bet is where rather than just put all my money on one thing, I put my money here and then I also put it over there. So even if this fails, I can still get money over this way. So I don't put all my eggs in one basket. Mm-hmm. So brilliant strategy to make sure you don't fail. Fair?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm trying to like let you know how brilliant you are. So you better get excited about this, Tim. You're smart. Enjoy this part because I'm going to really tear you down later on. Okay. Another strategy we've got is try to sort of, okay, fuck, we're going to fail. And from failing, part of me wants to go find other things to focus on so that this failure is not so bad. Now you've got a new strategy for that, which is, well, I'm pulling away from this thing over here that might fail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make this thing even more significant. I'm going to focus on how important it is and what a difference it's going to make and how it's more important than just me and blah, 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 blah. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what I'm hearing is from doing that, it actually makes this even more significant, which then makes the prospect of failing at this even more significant.
True.
Great. Before we go any further, have you seen yourself doing this in your partnership with your, I know I got this wrong on our call last time, girlfriend, right?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, okay.
Okay. Can you see this sort of tendency just in your partnership with your girlfriend?
Yeah. I think it's kind of the same pattern here.
Great. Can you see? Just want to see if there's anything there for you. It looked like you were kind of checking in.
Yeah, and I'm just processing a lot of things here, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that I don't see it like our relationship. I don't want to put it on a graph, like on a slope, like checking if it's the progress are as expected, because I really don't see it like that. But yeah, I see the point, and I see the way that I could be very stressed out with some events or something like that. I'm saying that, oh, everything could fall apart, and be really scared of it, and adding some meanings on the relationship, so it could look even more important, more and more important. So I'm sure that I'm taking care of it. I think it will help me to take care of it.
So the the thing I'm present to in this is like you've got some strategies designed to make failure not as painful.
Mm-hmm.
And those strategies, rather than they actually make it more painful, they feed back into this loop. Because once you make this even more significant, do you find you're like, yeah, now I'm going to do all this work? Or are you like, is it even harder? Like, I imagine that would have you.
It's like, it's like you were heading for the fourth floor, like with with the stairs, and you say, okay, I will head for the eighth floor, and it would be easier. And that's a stupid pattern. It's not helping.
Well, it's actually
it looks even more difficult.
It's actually a brilliant pattern, Tim. Like, that's one of the things I just want you to get. This makes so much sense. Like, if you imagined that failure was really scary, and if you imagine it was totally true that that part where you start to level off is failure, then all of these strategies make complete sense. They're actually brilliant, and they've served you up to a point. It's just now you're noticing there's something I want to do that these strategies are not going to allow me to do. So you're just committed to something greater in your life than this pattern will allow you to keep, like, will actually allow you to get.
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to see that?
I'm not sure yet, but I see that I want to get out of these patterns. I don't see how I can do that right now. But yeah.
Right. So is it, so let's work with that for a bit, okay? Is it true that when things slow down, this part of the graph, this flat part here, is it true that that means you're going to fail?
No, absolutely not.
Right.
It depends how long it stays like that, but no.
Right. Exactly. Well, but like, I'm not saying is it possible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying, is it objectively true?
Okay. No.
Right. Awesome. Okay, great. Can you see, like, that's a bit of a story you've learned to create?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. Can you see that from your story, you have some patterns that you've learned to do, and that those patterns actually make it quite likely you're going to fail? Are you able to see that part?
Yeah.
Do you want me to give you an example?
Yeah, please.
Cool. So, oh my God, we're leveling off. We're hitting that plateau. Things are slowing down. That means I'm going to fail. Start to look for new things. Make this even more significant. Start to hate on myself. Feel even less motivated to do anything. As you're putting less of yourself into this thing, what predictably happens?
Decrease.
Right? Am I making, is this fair?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, kind of. I think yes.
You get to tell me. So I heard you say kind of, like, what is that part of how it goes? Or do you find like you get really significant about it and then you start to look for new things and then magically this thing like shoots off and becomes a complete success?
No, no, I don't know. Magically, no, but sometimes I do have some ups and downs, and sometimes I can regrow I remake a really good slope on. I don't know exactly how, but yeah. What you said is 90% true. The rest of it is I don't know.
Great, I'll take it. So like 90% of the time, 90%, the patterns actually make the original story true.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think if I can
I'm fitting the beginning of the pattern with the end of the pattern.
Yeah, and then it feeds back into itself.
Okay.
So by making it really significant, and then by finding new other things to do, you tend to put less of your energy into this thing, which then makes it less likely to succeed, which is then going to give you more evidence that it's failing.
Yeah.
which
more
is
evidence that I can't succeed because I just need to make new things.
I can't seem to do this. Oh, the problem must be that I need to make new things. But it's actually like the reason you're making new things is because of this story back here that has you like, oh, where I am right now is failing.
Okay. Yeah, I get it. Totally.
Okay, great. So there's a couple things that sounds like are happening. One, that leveling off part when things start to slow down, you have a story about it. And two, it's scary. Like your fear gets driven up there. Which of those two do you want to look at?
I think I want to go to the fears.
Great. So I hear when you get scared, what happens is you put more of it on yourself and you try to like force yourself forward. Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you really need when you're afraid, Tim?
I need to be confident. I don't get the question. Sorry for that.
Well, I can tell you it's not that. So
what do I need in order not to be afraid?
No, because that's kind of what you're trying to do, right?
Yeah.
If I could just not be afraid, then everything would magically be solved. So like imagine a little boy, 4 years old, who's really scared. What does that boy need? You wouldn't tell him competence, would you? Hey, little guy, you just need to be competent. Oh, thanks. I feel so great, Tim.
Yeah, it needs to be it sounds cheesy, but loved and like comforted.
Loved, comforted. Anything else you think might help that little boy in that moment?
I could be that, yeah, be reminded that not such big deal. It's just a project. Like no one is going to die on that. Like it's the life goes on, no matter what. Like we don't care that what people think about it. It's just the way we do things, and it has to be authentic with us. And if we don't feel that it is authentic anymore, it's okay. We can change.
So I'm conscious to our time. So I'm going to like wind up a few dots for us, and then we'll create some ways for you to practice with this. Okay. Before we do that, what are you like? What kind of conclusion or awareness are you arriving at?
It's mixed because I think I built a very complex way to justify the fact that I can't succeed on something, and it's even this program I just compute. I don't know to say it another way. Is feeding him by himself, like everything that is produced by it, make him a bit stronger. And even he's producing his own truth. Like I don't another word in English, but it's called a tautology in French.
Same word.
It's when the same one. Okay. When you try to explain a fact by taking an argument, the effect of the fact. So it's okay. So I'm building a huge tautology for myself about success and fear of success. No, failing, that's the same. No, maybe it's not. About failure. Okay, so I know I see that, and I kind of feel it, and I I just feel so pissed about myself. Like it's just I want to unleash that guy from all these
Yeah.
patterns, and I don't know where. It helps to identify it and to know that it's not true because I'm making my own reality on that, and so it's not the reality of the way I'm building it. But I still don't know how to act on it.
Yeah. So first I want to normalize that for you. The feeling pissed, the anger, like what we're doing is kind of pulling a bit of a blind spot into your purview. And like, hey, take a look at this. And often that creates it's a humbling experience for us to see like, well, fuck me, that's not working. Why the heck am I doing that? That's dumb. So I want you to I just want you to know that's the anger or frustration or whatever you're feeling about yourself in relation to seeing this. That's a very human experience. It's not wrong. It's optional. I want you to get that part too, but like, it's okay that you feel that. That's not some defect of you. And one sec. So first, just totally get that. There's another part that I cannot remember, so I'll just set that aside. You're right. These things feed in. Oh, that's what it was. This is not what most of us do once we see this thing is we're like, well, this is dumb and there's no reason I should be doing this and I'm dumb. But that's not true either. You created this and it's rewarded you time and again in your life. It's how you've gotten here. It's how you've succeeded the way you've succeeded up to this point. It's gotten you good careers, good jobs, accolades from people. I'm sure of this. It's made you probably really reliable to like buckle under when there's something that you really have to get done and get it done. Like it's provided a lot. So I just invite you to see if you can expand your being to allow space for the anger, but also to allow space for like really acknowledging yourself for having created this because it's what you needed to create in the moment. Make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So that's the first practice I would give you on like for the next week as you sit with this. Can I not eradicate my anger, but can I let that be there? And can I at least expand myself to allow myself to be saying myself a lot, but like to be grateful and to acknowledge the brilliance that had me create this in the first place. You're ready for something new. It doesn't make you wrong for having created this in the first place.
Yeah, okay.
Got it? The second thing I heard you say is when someone's scared, I think they need love and comfort. The trap of what happens here, and this is how it goes for most of us, is we have our fear show up, and then this is our awareness. So we don't see on this side of our awareness. We just see here are the strategies I'm doing, blah, 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 and they feed back into the fear. And then we try to fix our strategies, but we don't realize like these aren't the problem. It's this based on a story we made up. So my invitation is, what are some ways to show up that you could recognize like, oh, I'm afraid. That's what's there right now. I'm afraid. And what I need is love and comfort. So what could you practice that would allow that would create some of that?
Yeah. I think it's what I began to do when I got you lost, maybe everyone on that live. And I was trying what makes me fear and when do I feel afraid? And I was processing that. But yeah, I definitely need to practice that.
And how could you? I love that you made it like some weird law that you have to follow. But how could you put this into practice?
I don't know. It could be just at first, just noticing when I'm afraid and talk about it, just not trying to find the source of it, but just here. Okay, I feel something wrong. I think that I'm afraid. I don't know why, but that's what I am. And maybe I will be able to get a bit closer from the source of it, getting used to find and to sense the moments when I'm afraid. It could help, I think.
Okay, great. So it sounds like one of the practices would be noticing these strategies and then just recognizing like, oh, I'm afraid. Okay, great. Awesome. I love that one. Would it serve you to write these down, Tim? You can also come back and watch this, but I find I often forget practices once I'm like, wow, I remember.
Yeah, I know, but I won't forget it.
Okay, great.
For that I'm a bit like, but yeah, writing down sometimes doesn't. It's maybe sometimes okay. It's writing down in my book. I close the book.
I get it.
I don't have to remember it. It's in the book. So here I choose to just store it in my head.
Awesome. Okay, great. So what are the two things you're going to practice so far?
Acknowledge the moment of fear and seeing the patterns of that I just had before that.
Awesome. Who is someone that you could ask for some comfort and love from in these moments when you notice you're afraid?
Who, you say?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be my girlfriend, for sure.
Cool. Awesome. Would you be willing to practice that? Like you're going to have resistance, right? Part of this is that you try not to feel afraid to make this thing happen. Would you be willing when that resistance shows up to share with her like, hey, I noticed I'm really afraid?
Yeah, especially because I think I'm trying to to cover up. I don't know if it means the same. The play that I'm afraid, and I think it doesn't serve us at all. So yeah, definitely, I'm wanting to play that.
Would that bring you and your partner closer together?
I don't know. Because if we are both afraid at the same time and we are just nourishing the fear, maybe, I don't know. But I think, I hope yes, but I don't know yet.
Cool. Well, let me ask a different question then. I have a belief that it would. Would that give your partner, give your partner access to more of you or less of you sharing that?
More.
Awesome.
More of me. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Cool. Anything else you see, Tim, that would be like, man, I want to take this on from here?
No, that's great. I think the work we've done just exhausts the part of me that alone might have to just reach inside me. I don't know if it's clear, but yeah. So no, I'm full with our practice, and I'm good. I'm good here.
Awesome. I want to acknowledge you to finish up, and then we're going to. I don't see any questions, so we're just going to do a debrief together. And if anyone watching does have questions, they will be kind enough to bring them. Will you come back here in a week and put a comment? Just, hey, here's what happened. Here's what I noticed. Are you willing to practice that way?
Yeah, this one I will write as a reminder. Okay.
Cool.
And how exactly do you want me to?
Just come put a comment. Here's what happened this week. Here's what I noticed. Okay. Anything that showed up. Here's how I practiced. Hey, I didn't practice. That's okay too.
Okay.
Nice. Can I acknowledge you to finish up this part of our conversation? So first of all, Tim, I love your brilliance and your wit. You were just whip smart, so smart and so funny and so playful. And I really love, I love it when a client makes me feel dumb. I'm like, cool, there's some growth for me to be with. And And it's just like, to me, that's a real measure of, it's just a beautiful thing. I don't know how else to say that. I really acknowledge you for your heart, man. Like, and how committed you are to what you want to create. Like, you wouldn't have created these strategies if the stuff you want to create didn't really matter. If you were like, oh, I'm going to, like, I guarantee you, if you went to work in a call center somewhere, none of this stuff would happen. You'd be like, yeah, I'm doing it. It's easy, whatever. I don't care. I'm not going and searching new things because there's no fear of failing at that. You're like, whatever, I failed. Who cares? I don't care. The reason this stuff's showing up is because it matters. That's the irony, is like, it matters enough to you that then it ironically pulls you away from it. And so I really acknowledge you for getting down to the root of this and being willing to be with that thing that feels scary. That's really the measure of courage. And so finally, I really want to acknowledge you for your courage. It's been a theme over the last couple of times we've had this, is like really courageous people that are being with their fear. And man, that's really inspiring. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for being totally vulnerable and like giving everyone who watched the gift of getting to be with you in your work. Super appreciate you, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for giving me this opportunity and the transparency of our talk. Yeah, it's precious. Thank you very much.
So, anything you're present, like anything you want to share sort of like outside of the conversation we just had, like, oh, I noticed this, or I was present to this, or I was surprised at this, or anything at all that's there that you'd like to share?
I don't know if it's outside the conversation, but I am amazed by the fact that I picked a subject between two and I worked on the other. So it was, yeah.
I noticed that too.
I don't know to cure that, but that's interesting. No, I was aware of many things. I think I shifted on many things. So yeah, it's an exhausting exercise, I think, but a very good way to feel exhausted.
The exercise being this, like the coaching conversation is exhausting?
Yeah, the introspection you need when you are coached. When you coach, I think both sides, because you need to empathize so much with the others and with yourself that for me, it's really energy demanding. Yeah,
one of the things that, so there's like who we are naturally, and then there's all the stuff, like when we're resisting something, there's how we're showing up from our resistance. And one of the things I find challenging about coaching, I see your comment there, Christy. Thank you. I'll come to that in a sec. One of the things I find really challenging about coaching is that when I'm being coached, the whole purpose of that is to have me go into the thing that I'm in resistance to. So, kind of like when you're getting massaged, and it's like you're not massaging the parts of your body that are like relaxed. That's not the point. You're massaging the parts that are tense and don't want to untense. And when we do that, the muscle's like, no, it tenses even more. And so that to me is exhaustion. It's like our being is tensing, like, it pushes on the resistance. And then on the other side of it, we can kind of like relax and just be with that pressure, that whatever is happening. So I really get it. Like, I really appreciate you saying, it can be exhausting because it's like, we're working to unfold. And once we can unfold or allow ourselves to just be with something a little bit more, there's so much freedom that can come from that. But it's not free. It's not an easy path to walk, is it?
Okay. It's not for free. Yeah.
And to your point, I would say coaching is I really think a lot of people in the coaching profession just kind of choose into it, don't get any training, don't work with a coach or anything. And I see that tend to go one of two ways. One is hopefully they make money, that's fine. But one is that they stay very shallow, so they never have to go into the stuff that they have resistance around. And and it's fine. You'll make money doing that, but you'll never or very rarely really create breakthroughs and change people's lives. The other path is that it just destroys them because you're going down into this stuff and you have resistance in it and it's just exhausting and draining. And if you're not getting the gift of your own work, you're just spending all this time tensed up. And by the end of the day, you're like, this is horrible. So yeah, thanks for putting that into space. Let's read what Chrissy says. So she says, Tim spoke a couple of times about when Emmy knows more about something and you don't, that you would stop yourself and feel stuck. And Chrissy is saying, I wonder if it's about a belief about being smarter than instead of being proud of the team and willing to open his mind and heart to learn in that moment from his business partner in love. Got it. So I think what Chrissy's wondering, and correct me if I've got this wrong, Chrissy, is, she's got more too. She says this is because of how she sees herself show up with her partner. When her partner knows more or thinks different, then Chrissy can sometimes feel a little bit less, feel diminished. And then so she feels the need to like assert herself. So what do you say, Tim? Does that resonate? Or is it like, no, I don't feel in competition with her? Or what do you see?
It's not in competition. It's like, I consider myself kind of an expert of my field, and I consider herself getting to be, not getting to, but being one of the experts of her field too, or getting to, I don't know. So it's not a competition because we have two different fields. It's like when we are talking about personal development and coaching, especially, I do put myself here, like all the time. I'm not willing to do that. Just I do like a reflex, and I see her like from below, and I see that okay, you have all the answers. Please give me. And I am trying to talk to her as I used to when I was not trying to learn personal development and coaching. And when I was a consultant, and when we had this discussion, saying that, but you are really doing some coaching. Oh yeah, really? I don't even realize I was doing some, and she was doing some innovation and consulting stuff, using tools she was never told about. And so it was very a way that we acknowledge each other. So you know my stuff, even without being formed for it, learned it. And we were really at the same level. And the more I learn, the more I see that I don't know. It's the same for everyone, I think. And the more I see that we have a gap in this knowledge, so I put myself like below.
It's kind of like the opposite of what Chrissy's saying. It's not like you're holding yourself above. It's like you're holding yourself below, in a way.
Yeah. So maybe I do exactly the opposite without noticing it when it's on my field. It's totally possible.
Yeah. One thing the thing I'm present to, especially in my own life and in the lives of the people I support, is it's really hard to own when we're afraid. Like that's not the way life tends to work. Our evolution is when you're afraid, don't show it. Like make yourself big, and either run away or stand and make yourself bigger and like get aggressive. And so anytime I'm scared, I don't want to bring that to my wife or my friends or even I don't want to share that with anyone. I want to pretend I've got it all figured out and it's all solved. And so just at the most general level, that's what I was really present to for part of this, was like, from your fear, there's all these strategies designed to address your fear so that then it's gone. And then you can do the thing where like, yeah, I was really scared 5 minutes ago, but now it's all clean. Instead of like what tends to set us free, which is like, right fucking now, I'm really fucking scared. Can you just remind me I'm awesome, or whatever it looks like? That's amazing leadership work. And it takes, boy, does it take a lot. It demands something from us to do that. It's not free. There's one other thing I think I might have wanted to share, but you know what? We're at the bottom of the hour, so why don't we wind it down there? So Tim, thanks so much. what a treat to get to do this with you. Everyone that tuned in, Christy, thank you so much for everything you've shared. So appreciate that. Thanks, Colin. Thanks, Rachel. And thanks to everyone that joined in for whatever parts you did. And we'll see you all next week. Have an amazing weekend, Tim. Talk to you soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.